Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Gemini channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Gemini and also a message from my winner. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was in a private reading, and sometimes those are really hard to, end. So, again, this is going to be a message from my winner. But if you wind up landing on this, a lot of times what you'll realize is that you resonate with the message too, especially on my channels. Now, if you are connected to a Scorpio, you might want to check out my Scorpio channel. If you're connected to my Virgo, you might want to check out my Virgo channel. It's always nice to see the reading from a different perspective, right? When you're tapped into someone, especially when you're like, okay, whatever you were thinking is definitely not what I was thinking. And whatever you think you were portraying, that's not what you were portraying. And that's what you'll notice a lot of times on my channel, because I talk about the shadows. I talk about the spiritual blocks of shadows, and we see how they play out as karmic themes. Why? Because a lot of times it's not about whether your person has feelings for you. You know that. It's about, why does it look the way that it does? Why is the person doing what they're doing? What's the point of the whole connection if the connection never even gets off the ground, or if the connection is nothing but chaos? What is that? Is that to drive you crazy? Or is that there really a spiritual meaning to the connection and what you're going through? Because it's your spiritual blocks don't just show up as people, but actual situations and experiences that play out within your life. So there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness will depend on what you do, because that's the core belief. Hey, Whitney, I'm so glad. Thank you. I got on a little bit late because I had to disconnect from a private reading, and sometimes those are hard to get. You got to say goodbye like 12 times before the person, actually, and you don't want to be rude, but, we would try to, ease out a little bit earlier. So I got on like a few minutes late. So my apologies. And thank you so much for being patient. The internet last time was out. And so, you know what, Whitney, I have to say there's no mistakes. And it's the energy. It's, you're like, yeah, well, I figured that that's what would happen. It's almost like you feeling like it's been difficult. Oh, listen, I would definitely make it for you for sure. Whatever we would have to do. It's just sometimes around clients and doctor's appointments and everything else that's going on. But I'm always on, and I feel like you're a person that if you really, 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 really want something, you usually can make it happen. However, in your relationships, that's really not the case. And I feel like, again, it's not about whether your person cares or not. It's about, we focus on why this person does what they do. You can ask me questions. Like, since you don't mind being on, some people that win the reading mind and they send me the questions the day before, but since you're on, you can put it right in the chat box if you have specific questions. Otherwise, I just tend to channel. Why? Because again, they're spiritual readings. They have a therapy style to them, because it's about understanding why, more than anything else, really. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't shape shift this situation, and if a person really does love you, really does care about you, and they're ready to evolve into that higher state of consciousness, which is, yeah, I'm ready to commit. I'm ready to come in as an emperor. If I was doing tarot, right, I'd be like, I'm coming in as an emperor. Then you may have to teach the person, but as long as they're open. But a lot of times that's not the case. You know what I mean? But sometimes it is. So you can shape shift the situation into actually getting what you want. The irony is, though, you wouldn't want it once you got it. Like, that's the crazy part of it. It's like, or over time, you'd be like, why did I want this? You ever say that? Why do you look at somebody, especially you, Whitney? You're like, how did I like that person a long time ago? And now I'm looking at that person. I don't really like them, that person. And the reason why is because you were in a different place a few years back than how you are now. A lot's happened in your life. And so you can't stay the same. I feel like you're connected to someone that likes things to stay the same. They don't like change, and they don't like change because they're not strong within themselves. And because they're not strong in themselves, and you're someone that is actually strong within yourself. Um, Now, it doesn't mean you're strong within relationships, but I feel like when it comes to taking care of yourself, you can definitely take care of yourself. You're not a needy person. If anything, you've learned to deal with things mainly on your own. You just happen to be, spirit says, a little needy in the relationship department. That's why you get people that are emotionally not intelligent. And then it's a trigger for you because you feel like they don't really care. You'll notice also, Whitney, like when I'm doing a reading, like I don't really need the cards. Spirit speaks to me directly. So every now and again, I'll pull cards to prove my point, but otherwise it's just going to be a channel. It's going to be more accurate, you know? Intrusive energy. Again, that's the underlining energy. Intrusive, but intrusive doesn't not all the time mean that someone's yelling and screaming at you. It's almost like they know what they're doing to you, and they know that your own thoughts can be intrusive on yourself, really. And it's because you're giving this person too much energy. And that doesn't mean that you're like talking to this person. What it means is they're taking up too much space in your mind. How do you manifest? Through the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have. You are holding on to a cognitive dissonance, and so is your person, because you both have histories of bad relationships. This person more than you, mainly because they do things that create that. But it's also the same types of karmic themes that I feel like are continuing to play out. So the intrusiveness is the fact that this person's passive aggressive, and I feel like you're like, I'm not budging unless I get exactly what I want, how I want it, when I want it. Like, you're very like, at this point, you're like, hey, I know who I am, I know what I want, and I know what I'm deserving of. Yeah, but you're never going to get a person 100% on your energy vibration. Realistically, you don't. You either get someone a little bit lower or a little bit higher. That's just the way that it goes. And you happen to like to be in control. So you're getting someone on the lower end. And that's because they would have to rise. So again, that means somebody that is immature. They're going to say things, they're going to do things that are intrusive, but it's mainly what you do to yourself because of that intrusiveness that this person kind of gets off on. And you're like, but if this person cares about me, why does it fucking look like that? And understand, because spirit says they don't care whether it's again through I love you or I hate you. You're still thinking about me. And that emotional charge tells me that you care. That's all that I care. I mean, a masculine energy that's so masculine. It's like all the way on that, like on the last spectrum, where you tend to be that much on the feminine side. And it wouldn't matter if you were a girl and you were with a girl, or a guy and with a guy, it wouldn't matter. It's just, we're talking about energy. Is so again, there's these divine counterparts. And I feel like you're in the place where you're actually ready to, like, the reason why you're like, no, I want what I want and I'm not swaying, is because you're ready to evolve. You should actually be with someone on a little bit higher vibration than you are, to make you again rise a little bit more, instead of helping this person, because I feel like you're on an upward flow. And so, and then the thing is, it's like the person, you want to know how the person's intrusive. Well, they're like opinionated. It's like, they're very rigid in the way that they think. It's very outdated thinking. It's very survival. Masculine energy is survival. It's root chakra. It's again, they're builders. They're factual. It's what I see is what I know is what I believe. Just the facts. But then this persona of how I need to be. And vulnerability is not one of those things. And so the irony is, if you were more vulnerable, if you were more soft energy, this person would feel more comfortable, but they do everything that's impossible to make that a reality. So you're like, yeah, like try being with a person like that. So they play games to control, because it's like, well, if I can't have you this way, but then you're like, but they're not even fair. And you're like, when I was with them, it's again, they triggered my abandonment issues. They came in and out of my life, which that's a respect thing too, by the way. Like when you get triggered, because it's like, you're not valuing me. Now I'm going to intervene, because again, in order for me to do this job as a healer, I have to do that, because God always says, you know, you have to create awareness. So your mind can't be in two places at one time. You abandon yourself with this person. Every time you give more energy to this person, you're dealing with masculine energy, which is everything's my way, I'm right. You can't do it when it's very far to that left. I mean, that's, it's imbalanced. It's still balanced, even though it's masculine energy. It's too much. We're supposed to be made up of both, and that means the characteristics. So this person overcompensates, like almost like as if someone raised this person to like make them feel as if they were like not man enough, not good enough. And like, again, like belittle this person. So now they go out and they overcompensate for that lack. And you're trying to be in a relationship with a person that's, going to do things their way when they want to do it, that they're not going to be vulnerable, but they're going to try and trigger the shit out of you in order to figure out where you are in the relationship, which is going to create like emotionally, I'm not getting anything. Physically, I'm not getting anything. And that becomes a trauma. So guess what? You could be like, I'm not even dating anyone anymore. You're talking about my past boyfriend. And Spirit says, well, that's what's imprinted. That's what's imprinted. That's what a soul's wound is. That's what a samskara is. A samskara is a combination of astral energy and emotional energy held in the body as stress. Is what becomes your energy vibration. So you're like, I'm not that person anymore. And Spirit says, prove it. You have to embody the new consciousness, because there's a part of you that's like, I don't want this anymore. I'm tired of this. And God says, your mind can't be in two places at one time. This person represents passion. Where is the passion? It's 48 on 36. It's like he wanted a friend with, right, that's right. And you don't want that, because that's going to trigger your abandonment issues. That's going to make you feel as if you're not worthy. That's going to make you feel a certain way, is what I'm trying to say. It's like, so automatically, it's like it keeps you in a lower state consciousness. Now, I'm not saying don't date this person if you want to date this person. But what I am telling you, Whitney, if you want to get the ball in your court ever, you'd have to start dating other people. You'd have to be more interactive in your life. You'd have to step into more of your masculine energy, where it's again business, work. It's again like a hustle. Like this person, like, again, has a big ego. So understand, and there's a big age difference. And listen, I married someone that was over 25 years older than me. So I know all about that masculine energy, because I get that energy. So your gifts would be more intuitive, sensitive, creative, like softer energies, but you can actually be strong too. And I'm saying, because this person represents passion, but it was meaningful connection, because we stutter, but he's in and on and off. Well, that's the thing. Listen, it's like you have a common interest. You have a common thing, you can say, okay? A common thing, where whether it's a stutter, where you both felt inadequate, and it's deeper than a stutter, okay? It's like, it's how we feel. This person identified with me. I don't really have people that identify with me. Well, this person's playing on that. And I'm not saying that this person doesn't care about you, but it takes a long time for a man to grow emotional feelings. Now, I'm not talking that lust. I'm not talking lust and attractiveness. That's right away. It's like, I'm not going to come towards you unless I'm hot for you. That's number one. I wouldn't even entertain you, Whitney, if I didn't have feelings for you. However, I don't know what I want. So, but I don't want you to move on because, again, and I know that you won't, because look how much emotional energy you give to me. It's, again, I told you I can get back together with my ex at any time, and you still give me that time. And because you're like, well, I believe that he won't. Right. As long as you're perfect. And that's the issue. It's like, this person has avoidant style. It is not cool to have somebody that you're supposedly married to, or you're with, and then you come in and out of the relationship. That means that you can't work through your problems. That means you're not going to be able to, ever express your feelings. And that's what you grew up in. And that's what this person does. It's like, on a soul's level, it's like, it doesn't mean the person's not hot for you, isn't attracted to you, but you're an escape. You're an escape. And the thing is, once the relationship gets real, then what happens? It's like, that's when you need somebody, because life happens. You need a partner. You don't need somebody that's going to be in and out of your life. Whoa, the ex came back. They got a flat tire. Guess what? Every time that ex sniffs around that this person has, somebody else, they come back because they've been abandoned by this person. It's like, so of course you're going to be seen as a threat. You're going to see, and then this person gets off on that a little bit, because it's like, hey, it feeds the ego. It's like, and like I said, and it's not like I can't say that the person doesn't have feelings. Yeah, they have feelings, but what about all of that we're going to pretend that that's not there? And that's the problem. And this is the type of channel that it is. It's a healing channel. I can tell you what the person's going to do, but they're going to do what they've been doing, which is coming in and out. It's like, because, I've been hurt before. Yeah, you weren't spinning that record like when we first met. That's not like what you were telling me. You told me that it was over. And now guess what? It's not really over. Because as long as you have kids, or as long as you have, and there's 1,000 excuses, each one gets a little worse, though. Kids actually, you're like, well, you can make excuses for that, but not at your expense. Otherwise, this person doesn't respect you. And unconsciously, if you don't make a person respect you, they'll leave you because you become boring. So you can't be perfect with a person like this, because they're the ones that are flawed. So they won't take responsibility for their brokenness. And that's the problem that I have here. I'm going to call it as it is. It's like, and I'm not saying the person isn't hot for you and that there isn't an attraction and there isn't a soul's connection, but soul's connection, a past life connection. A lot of times you're like, this is my soulmate, my twin flame. I watched this lady. I was a stalker, okay? And I watched this lady for a year because it was like a soap opera on Facebook. I would tune into her channel because I watched her, like, she would blab like everything about this connection. She was so emotional. And you know what? The last time I saw her, they were throwing her ashes in the water. She had breast cancer because it was like her 5th relationship where she undervalued herself. And she was gorgeous. She was drop dead gorgeous, and she was smart. She was super smart. She was a nurse. She wasn't any dummy. She was no dummy, and she was drop dead gorgeous. She didn't know her worth. And that's this energy here. And that's what I don't like. It's like, because again, when the person comes in and out, and here it is, you're giving all your emotional energy, and this person like is gonna like come in and out and act like you're not as important. It's going to turn your life upside down because emotionally, it's how much you give is the size of the wound. So it's like, so I'm not saying if you want to really know the truth, Whitney, of whether or not, because right now, as we see it, this person's going to come in and out of your life. And as time goes by, it's going to eat away at you. It's going to bother you. Now, let's ask it a few questions. Let's get creative here and say, what happens if Whitney goes like doesn't come over as much? Doesn't make this person as much of a priority, and she starts to date other people. Now, we're not telling you to tell this person anything. It's none of this person's business until the ring is on the finger. You don't have to say anything. It's all fair game because that's what they're pretty much saying. And but what happens if you start dating other people? Because you can shape shift the reality if it's a true person. If the person is true and they really don't have feelings. Hey, Aglera, I don't want to say your name wrong. Watching, looking out for you. Okay, so some of the person would have a hard time like seeing, so they would like watch you, stalk you for a while. They would definitely know that if you were starting to talk to somebody, because you give a lot of energy, is what Spirit's saying. Spirit's like, we don't like where it's going. It's like, because where it's going can hurt you the way that it's designed. And it doesn't mean that there's no soul connection. Again, soul connection means learn. So the divine has brought this person into your life. But if it's karmic, like the one main lesson that we see over and over and over, the basic lesson, I mean, there's many lessons, but the one main lesson is that you abandon yourself. You gave up your rights. You gave up your wants, your desires, your emotional safety to compensate a person that wants to come in and out. And that, of course, once you move your energy, this person's going to feel it because, hey, you're always around. You're pretty much predictable. So again, you change that shit up, which you need to do. Can't make people so comfortable. And the reason why is, dyslavia. I still can't say that name either. But I mean, and I said that because there is a timeless connection, but this person is not in any hurry to commit to you. If anything, they would like, I actually sometimes like it when it slows down because it's time consuming to feed two places at one time. Understand that. When the person says that they come in and out and they're so open, well, guess what? You called me, and guess what? I was in, every single time. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't say anything because the person's already said, well, I told you I'd come in and out of the relationship. I'm always around. And that's why I'm saying, and the whole friends with benefit shit, that means I find you hot. And I'm really into you. And I'm going to tell you a lot of emotional stuff, but everybody knows that it's how much time, energy, focus, and money a person sinks into you, which is how much you care. It's how much you care. That's your energy. If I was to pull out the magician card, that's all the tools that are on the magician's table. That is how much you're giving. And so when a person isn't valuing that, it's like it begins to eat away at you. It bothers you. So again, this person is going to use, yeah, we have this connection and I'm so hot for you. But it's again, how much time did the person give? What have they given in the relationship? I don't want to hear bull fucking shit. Because guess what? You don't want to let go of that old person. Why? Because you've invested too much. Oh, so will you have a problem then investing in me? I mean, these are things that you have to ask yourself, Whitney, because it's not about will the person say. The person will stay forever until you tell them to go fuck off. It's like, But will the relationship ever evolve? No. It's what it's saying. And it says that, like, timeless. I got all the time in the world. We don't need to commit, and that's why it's, do your values match up with this person's values? Look at this: stable value, lasting. And what am I saying? It's like the relationship doesn't have any of that. And that's what you know. So it's not about, does this person have a spiritual connection? Yeah, they do. They do. The universe has brought you this person and this person. This person has the opportunity to evolve. What they're saying, by telling you what they're saying, is, I don't really want to do that because I'm still connected to somebody from my past. Well, then fucking end it. It's that simple. It's like, if you love me, and you can't say that 2 years into the relationship, person's going to be like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's like, I can't do that. It's like, and you're not going to have any ground. We can't change the game once we've already agreed to play the game a certain way, is like what I'm trying to tell you. And it would just be challenges. Like, it's like this person will make things difficult, because they're going to make things difficult anyway. And I'm going to tell you why. They have avoidance style. And we know that because they're not committed to that ex either. So guess what? Every time the ex, look at that. I took that fucking thumb shit off. I don't know where that came from. So, and that's almost like spirit being like, right on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you saw that thumb, but that's the universe being like, yeah, this person come in and out of your life, and that's what you want today is not what you want tomorrow. You know, it was looking for, right. I caught, and that's the problem. So it's not like this person doesn't have feelings for you. It's like they do, but they would make it so challenging. And this isn't what you want. You have to get to the point where, because you're a very highly sensitive person. You're a beautiful person, Whitney. And I'm not just saying that. It's like you really have like a good heart. And so understand, you have to put yourself in things that are going to grow you, that are going to feed you love. It's, again, that's why it says be like childlike in the Bible, because children go out and play and they discover who they are. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. God says, please don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. I'm the universe. I'm inside of you as the gift of spirit. All you need to do is become the energy of unconditional love. This person doesn't allow you to go past a certain phase, because then obviously you would want more. And it's like, and they can't have that. And so who needs to feel suppressed? Who needs that? You don't need that. I can see you're a beautiful woman. I can see you in that tiny little bubble. It's like with my glasses on. It's, again, you don't need that. It's like, and if you're insecure about your stutter, then go to speaking class. It's about, understand God displays his glory through the most broken. So when you're interactive and doing what you love, and you're pouring into yourself love, because that's what you got to do. You got to pour the love into you, because you didn't have that. So you have to reparent yourself, because you don't want to keep drawing in people like that are like, oh yeah, like I want the whole friends with benefits thing. Go fuck yourself. Of course you do. And I'd like $1 million fucking dollars, and for you to fucking take me around the world on your fucking private jet. But I don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. It's like, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. It's like, and unfortunately, people like to classify. You say, well, I don't know why people tend to look at me like that. Because you're too nice. And guess what? When you look at the snooty people, do they have time to just talk to anybody? Now, I'm not saying that you need to be a snooty person, but when I turn around and I look at some of my snooty friends, and they're not really that nice. And then, and I look at them and I'm like, I noticed that in the beginning, they didn't treat me nicely. And Spirit said, yeah, because you're too nice. And if you notice, these people are traveling. They're interactive in their life, in their business. They go out with their friends. Their calendar is full doing things. I don't have time to talk to like somebody that's not giving me anything in return. And that's kind of the attitude you need to hold, Whitney. Because guess what? You're still going to be too nice because you're a highly sensitive person. But at least if I make you mindful, maybe we can balance out that energy where it's like, hey man, you got to work your way to get to be in my life. I honor myself. I love myself. And so I take care of myself. I go to the gym, I go to speaking lessons, maybe I go to take tango on Wednesday. And guess what? You would meet a whole lot of friends that would feed you, that would give you that emotional support that you need, that you didn't get. So you would notice if someone came in and even tried to spin anything like that, you would be like, okay, like, no, you're not offering me anything. And it's not to be mean, but you know how much you give. See, if I felt like you were like money hungry person, it'd be like, well, but that's not who you are. You know who you are. That's why I'm telling you, no. It's like you need what you really need is like someone that's going to be like devotional. And it says, well, I said if you do that, you will find somebody that is devotional. That's somebody that starts with friendship, which is what it needs to start with. Relationships are something that happen over time. Trust is something that happens over time. When you're balanced and you have a full life, this way you're not so close up to the picture emotionally, not seeing anything, overgiving. You're an overgiver. And so is everybody else that's listening, is an overgiver. So it's again, you want to create the friendship, you'll get the support, and then you'll get the loyalty. You want to know how to get loyalty, but that means you're not pouring enough into yourself. And that might seem boring or you have anxiety to do, and spirit says, well, all that is where your healing comes into play. It's like where, that it's to recreate yourself. And that's by, again, going out and discovering yourself. You'll meet men, attractive men that will be nice to you. It's again, and you can date a few of them at one time. Be like, I don't know, like who I like yet. But I'm not sleeping with all of them. But it's like, I'm allowed to date. They are. It's like, you don't give the whole red carpet treatment to people that haven't earned it. They won't respect you. And love without respect causes a lot of problems. It becomes very toxic. It's again, like it winds up with where it's like you walk away, but it's painful when you overgive. And that's what I said with this person. So part of you is like, then why do I can still feel this person? And it's because ESP through the heart and mind. This person is a past life karmic mate. Hello. If they didn't talk to you in 2 weeks, a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, it wouldn't matter. Again, you knew them a million years ago. Again, that's when people are like, well, I haven't talked to them, so I don't really understand why. It's like because of that. It's like, so you might be like, well, I don't feel them all the time. Sometimes you won't feel them all the time. And that's because they date people and then they come back, and then they date people and then they come back. And the irony is they're always looking for you in those other people. They just can't be with you. And you're like, well, what the fuck is that? And that's a psychological reversal. And you attract that when you believe that you can't have love. And that happens when you were brought up in an environment that, again, made you feel that way. And that's why I'm saying your healing antidote would have to be, again, to be like, join things, become friends, relationships, balance, trust. And you can find somebody like that. The thing is, it's like you got to love yourself enough, though. It's like when you love yourself enough and your life is good, believe me, people will like, well, why are you so fucking happy? It's like, because I have a busy life. I have a busy life. My friends went to the Vatican for a wedding. Okay. Like that's the standard. It's like that was never my standard. Spirit said there's this way to live, which is the way that you're living, which was the way that I was once living. And then there's this way to live, where again, I sat at a different table and I was like, holy shit. It's like, what the hell have I, where the hell have I been? And what the hell have I been eating? It's like, that's the thing. You don't know unless you've been told and unless you've been shown, and you haven't been shown. So you can't imagine it if you've never been shown. That's the whole thing with spirituality. You know, you trauma creates a lot of psychic ability. Trauma makes us go in and out of consciousness, which means not present. Hello, it means imagination. So the child that survives thrives because manifestation is easy. It's like I can imagine it because I can go into that realm. But Spirit says, as long as you're bound to this jerk, it's like it'll bound you to that childhood pain, which is I didn't get enough love. I didn't get enough support. There was no real devotion. There was no real. And so there's a real sense of not believing. And God says, I'm inside of you as the gift of spirit. I'm the universe. You can't have that inside of you. You can't have that out. Yeah, you got to get it out. Right. And that's why you have what you have. But that's okay because, again, God works his glory through the most broken, and we got broken. So it's like coming right up, and the Spirit says, yeah, he was like, the most broken is good because, again, you have stuff to work with because you say, where do I start? And God always says, start where you are. It's again, and that's by loving yourself first. It's like, and the fact is, you were conditioned not to love yourself. And that is why relationships like that play out in your life. And that is what we need to stop today. It stops today. And it starts by you got to do more than affirmations. You have to embody the new consciousness. We're in physical form to learn and to manifest. Remember, life is a test. You're not even, it's school, but it's a test. And then you get the lesson after. It's like, well, why didn't you fucking tell me before? And Spirit says, we don't play like that. It's like, it's the universe always conspires to bring you what you need. Listen to spiritual material. Listen, you can download Science of the Mind for free, I think, PDF book. Download it on Audible. Listen to it. Learn how your mind works. It's, again, you have to recondition yourself. Believe me, God will make a way where there is no way just for you. And through a lot of times those broken pieces. And again, then you cut your energy because your mind can't be in two places at one time. The fact that you were overfeeding this person that gave nothing, so you gave a lot because it's like, hey man, you didn't bring your food. Oh, so I have to dip into my food. So I'm giving all my food to you. It's again, but now 6 months in, I'm depleted because you never bring it. It's like, and you don't notice it because you just like, I'm just happy that you're here. And Spirit's like, no, it's too little. It's too little. It's not enough. And this came out and it's like a secret crush. It's again, like you go out. If you go out, it's like, I feel like this is a thing too, that you're shy. That you tend to be shy. So again, that's why you want to join things because you'll meet someone. I asked Spirit, I said, if we pull from another deck just for fun, remember, it said, let's do something different because there's many different realities that play out at one time. How can Whitney integrate the spiritual lesson? And Spirit said, well, again, she forms friendships, and that's through over time. And that would be, hey, I go down to the jazz bar every Tuesday night. I like the band. I don't like the band. Shit, I started to write a blog, and I sit down at the jazz thing. Yeah, I act like I'm important. It's again, and every Tuesday, I notice Bob comes in. It's like you weren't looking for Bob. understand, Spirit says, I know what you need more than you know what you need. The universe will conspire to bring you what you need. The universe says, I know that you want to be loved. It's like, but you got to do that for yourself first. I mean, we're pouring out of an empty pitcher at this point. And that's so it's not about going out and trying to meet somebody. Have a love affair with yourself. I want to take cooking classes at Publix. They have maybe free classes, and maybe I want to go to the YMCA, and maybe I want to go here. Maybe be like childlike. You don't know who you are. You think that you're not worthy. You feel like you're not good enough. And what Spirit is saying is, no, you have to do those things. You have to. It's like, and you would get a different outcome because we pulled from a different deck and they were positive cards that came out. So it's again, they weren't shitty cards. Now let's just say, all right, well, let's just say she decides she doesn't want to do it. What would be the outcome? Like she doesn't want to do anything. Again, there's many different realities. I'm not predicting your future because I don't do that. I mean, but because a lot of times your prediction would be shit, and I'm not going to tell you that. I'm a healer. Especially if you didn't listen to this reading today. It's again because we tend to make the same mistakes. How do you find balance? It's that you're busy in your life. You're busy in your life. Like Whitney doesn't do anything. She doesn't join anything. She's gonna just do the same thing. What type of personality would she meet? Someone that keeps a lot of secrets. That's not good. That's like, again, transparency. How do you know whether somebody is being honest? Transparency. Dark side. You know why? No. Because, right, I look down and I say, steal your joy. See that? That's what the dark side does. It steals your joy. It's like a narcissist. And you grew up with a narcissist. So you'd be actually like bound to your childhood trauma. That's why, again, when I pull that's like a shadow. Like the person wears a mask in the beginning, so they'll become who you want them to become. But relationships are something that happen over time. And, a lot of us, unless we give a lot of time to something, do we really even emotionally have a connection? So you have to hold a person's attention too. And so it's not by always being available. If listen, favorite ice cream, chocolate ice cream, let's pretend I love chocolate ice cream. And then Spirit says, okay, so then you're not going to eat anything except for chocolate ice cream all day and all night and for the rest of your life. You'd be like, I hate fucking chocolate ice cream after like the 5th day, maybe 6th day, or maybe 10th day, or maybe a full month you could go. But eventually you would not like chocolate ice cream. And so it's not that you're supposed to go out and let the person try every single flavor. But if you're interactive in your life, emotionally fulfilling yourself, and let's just say you're eating a bunch of different foods during the day. I had a sandwich, I had Italian food, I had this. And at the end of the night, I just have that little tiny scoop of chocolate ice cream. That person looks forward to you. You're the chocolate ice cream. And here you are. Let me pretend that I'm always available to you, because I want to treat you the way I would like to be treated. And God says, but you aren't treated nicely. So what you think that you need, you actually don't really need that much. So it's a balance issue. That becomes a second chakra issue, which means that you give way too much. And you wind up with people that give way too little. And you don't notice it because the relationship goes so fast. And so you're like, how the hell did I date this person? And a month later, I'm seeing like a completely different person. What the fuck is going on here? And Spirit says, well, that person was never that person. And you would have known that. Your intuition would have known, would have guided you to that. But just too close up to the picture because emotionally, that was all that was feeding you. And that wasn't even feeding you. You didn't realize that you were feeding yourself, but this person was there also. And so it was a very one-sided relationship. And But Spirit says, no, for you, it's again, love yourself first. You need to also train your nervous system. It's not going to say this in the cards, folks. So I'm going to tell you, you train your nervous system, do somatic healing, do body mind work, do breath work. Because listen, the same way that you were reconditioned, because God makes us perfect, it's that we're born into families that teach us the karma that we need to learn. And again, the family that you're born into, and then you have an opportunity to make a new family. And that new family is not the boyfriend at first. It's, hey, like it's crazy Sarah. Yeah, she I took a cooking class with Sarah. She burnt down the kitchen. Yeah, she doesn't cook very well. But she became one of my best friends. Like I was there with the fire extinguisher. It's like the dynamics of life happen. And there you are, and Spirit says, I know what you need more than you know what you need. But you're so worried that you're not going to get it. And so that's why I'm telling you the focus really needs to be on you, really needs to be on loving yourself. You also want someone to come into your life and see that you love yourself and that you respect yourself, because they won't try it then. And you say, well, how do I do that? How much time you give somebody that is not coming from a true sense of self will think that you're naive. So again, you don't know who that is at first, especially if you're emotionally like, wow, that person's hot. You don't want to be that close up and be like, yeah, that person's good looking, but I can kind of see that they're a little like shady. Why? Because of certain words that they use, and I'm not so hungry for it. And that's why I'm saying it's like you're hungry for it. It's like being in the desert and being like, hey, there's water, and there's no water. It's just a mirage. Well, it's kind of like that. It's like that's what it's not accurate. And it's not accurate because you're not coming from your true self. And the universe will always conspire to bring you what you need. So remember, it doesn't just work out as fucked up people coming into your life. It also works as, oh, wow, that's a great opportunity. I needed that money and I was at the supermarket and I won $200, or whatever happens. It's like other things happen and you get more connected to like the fact that this is, you're born into family that taught you that they were broken. They needed healing. There was no education on healing. And like goes to like. So your dad was an alcoholic and your mom was just as broken. And I know because my dad was an alcoholic and my mom was the same exact way. And that is like goes to like. Sick goes to sick. And it's again, if you don't love yourself, which is what an alcoholic does not love themselves, they have poor self-esteem. Even if they're brilliant, my dad was brilliant, but he didn't like himself because of his sensitivity. And my mom was that narcissist because those women need to step in, become the masculine energy because they're with somebody that's not, it doesn't show up. So they're angry all the time. And so a lot of the anger was projected onto you. I don't think it was purpose all the time, but nevertheless, it still was done. So that's why you have to recondition your nervous system. You have to, otherwise I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from, Spirit says, take a tapping course or take a breath work course. Go to Udemy online. They wait for a flash sale, $9.99. Invest in yourself. Love yourself. You want someone to invest in you? Well, you have to show them. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. It's like, otherwise, it's almost like too much toxic energy. Just too much toxic energy and that evil eye of, I don't trust. And that happens because you were brought up in an environment where everybody was angry. Their lives didn't work. So you were a highly sensitive child because, again, part of the survival. I had to tune in, I don't know. Mom might be in a bad mood. Dad might be in a bad mood. But dad might be drunk. I don't know what might happen. So I need to turn it on. Again, coming in for the survival mechanism. But now you got that behaviorism, and guess what? You tapped into crazy Martha and square dancing, and you thought she was mad at you. So you offered to bake her fucking cupcakes. What the fuck was that? It's like, I don't know. She needed to bake cupcakes. So I told her I'd help her out. But it's like, I just felt like I needed to do that. Yeah, because you were conditioned. I need to give of myself. I need to give of myself. I'm not enough. And it's a survival thing where it's like, no. It's like crazy Martha has an attitude. It's like, I'll catch you later, crazy. I'm going to be square dancing over there with Bob. I mean, it's like boundaries. Boundaries. It's like I teach people the way I want to be treated because I love myself. And if that you can't do that for yourself, you'll always be bound to that horrible energy where you feel like everybody is like mad at you. That no one can forgive. You can make a mistake. Like you got to be perfect. You had a lot of shame put on you, and that's heavy, really heavy energy. And that's why I'm saying. And then what happens is, it's like this energy comes to you, and it's like I didn't do anything wrong, but I feel as if. And spirit says, well, it doesn't need to be. Remember, the body and the mind are self-healing organisms. That's the way that we're made. Again, you have to do the right thing. Otherwise, if you don't, like, it's just like you said, just hostility, just a lot of frustration. You'll be like, life is difficult. Life is difficult. So again, there's many different levels of consciousness that play out at one time. So when you begin to see, and I see a string of bad things, it's to do something different. It's to first and foremost get grounded. Yeah, it's again, and that might be really hard for you because you didn't have the support. So I would start there. And that's again training the nervous system. And maybe you have to do it so much that you get certified and you become a coach. You know what? It's again, every master starts off as a disaster. I know that personally. Understand. It's like you got to start where you are. Otherwise, you're gonna relive that I'm not lovable, and God says yes you are. Like, you are love. That's impossible because you are love. That's what you're made up of. That's what the universe is made up of. So it's technically impossible. That's like you saying something about water, but I can't, it's like, because I don't like water, because I was like, well, I don't like water. Again, the spirit says, because you were trained not to drink water. But it's like you're made up of water. You have the universe inside of you. You've heard that before. Well, again, that's the energy of love. It's again, then when you do that and you know that, then you realize that everything has divine timing, that there's nothing that's a mistake. You would say, oh, that shouldn't have been my parents. And then spirit says, no, that should have been your parents by spiritual law. You're down there first and foremost to learn. And yeah, it was rough learning, because there was no education. But wouldn't that be a great place to start? It's again, part of you needs to become yourself so that you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that you can reinvent yourself, because you don't have to worry about timing. When am I going to meet that person? Understand you will in the right time. Whatever it is that you desire, but you have to be able to focus on what you want to do and where you want to go. And the way that you recondition that is not to try and do all this healing and change yourself. It's like you have a cup that has water in it, but it has a lot of dirt in it. Well, do you try and take a spoon and scoop out the dirt? No, you pour in more water and eventually the dirt comes out. Well, it's the same thing. It's like you do more things to make yourself feel good about yourself. And eventually those things that don't resonate, that don't work, then it's not going to stay in your life. And you'll feel better. And you'll begin to see, like, I have a lot of things that actually fill me up emotionally. And you're gonna meet somebody. Spirit said that automatically. That's why I asked that question before. It was like, but the route that you're going, understand this person's not going to give you more, and they're banking on the fact that you'll feel bad and that you'll cave. So you're not going to even see them like come and give you anything because of how much you gave them. And you'll be like, I just was being nice. It doesn't matter. This person, like, how much you gave, they know. When a person's busy and they're busy in their life and they're enjoying their life, trust me, they don't give that much time. They don't sit there and make a half an hour time, an hour time. They don't. When people are busy, like literally, they're like, I'll pencil you in for like 15 minutes. Like that. I remember when I was like, when the fuck did that happen? Because I remember being a kid and like going to my friend's house and being there all day. And I remember like people like just having time, and Spirit's like, no, when people are successful, they fit a lot of stuff into their day. They live. And Spirit says there's a lack of chi, there's a lack of prana because there's a lot of blocks. And again, you would know that because you're like, I'm stressed out, you know? And so Spirit's saying the breath work and the somatic healing will help with that for you. It's again, or anyone that's gone through severe trauma. It's like you don't have to remember everything with the somatic healing, but you definitely want that shit out of your cells. You want to then surround yourself with people that are gonna, see you for who you are today. Find your talents. Find, again, things that you enjoy to do that are gonna help connect you, help open up that heart chakra. It's again, then we're cooking with gas, because once you like have that heart chakra open, hey, I could see how that would happen. How could you see that would happen? Well, every Tuesday I go to square dancing, and Bob was getting closer and closer to me. So we had to do the hokey pokey, and he wanted to turn me around. I don't know. It's like I just knew it was gonna happen. It's like, it's like I don't know how I knew. I just knew because claircognizance happens. And you would have that gift because you grew up in survival. Remember, highly sensitive person, the child that survives thrives. So again, it's a gift. But right now you're making it actually a curse because there's no balance. So when there's no balance, it's like, is that your energy or is it mine? It's like I'm having a hard time, especially anybody that's empathetic is going to have that. But someone that has gone through trauma, that was conditioned to give of their energy in order to receive love or any little praise or any little anything, they had to be the slave. They had to, that's the problem. It's really been on my mind to start going to, well, there you go. And I even said go to the YMCA, and I would never say that. But understand, it's like, be a joiner. It's like you don't even know who you are. And the thing is, the brain is not going to say we're not allowed to know who we are. So you know what the brain does? It says, that's right, we're inadequate. There's something wrong with us. That's right. We're a piece of shit. Yep, that's because that's what was told. And I can actually prove it because yesterday I fell down the stairs and the other day this happened. And the brain looks for things because it needs to say, so you're your own alchemist. You have to transmute the negative energy. You can't just get rid of it. So that's what we talked about today. This is what this reading's about. And then if you say, well, my higher self has been telling me I should join things. Well, it's again, then why aren't you listening? It's again to trust yourself. You have to listen to yourself. Discernment. We all have the gift of discernment. And the thing is, and you're no different. So it's join it. Pour into yourself. It's like do things that are going to make you curious. Then you lose yourself in the things that you love, and trust me, you'll become the vibration of love and you'll attract what you love. And you'll also teach that person how to love you because of the way that you are towards yourself. not realizing how you're treating yourself. And it's all about freedom. I won't sing because I can't. I realize my wounds create doubt, resentment, and guilt. So I work to free myself of darkness. I cast off negativity, negative thoughts, find peace in my heart, and discover the being of light within me. Okay, see, it's right there. Spirit saying, yep. And we're going to end it off on this note, which is all about it's time for you to, again, heal those wounds because otherwise you'll always hold on to doubt, resentment, and guilt. And, the shadow. You'll be living from the shadow of yourself, not the true self, the higher self. The true self, the higher self, is the God part of self that connects us to each other. It's made up of unconditional love. We know when we're in the flow of it, it's like, hey, I just wound up showing up and it just wound up coming out about 2 minutes after. I feel like I was supposed to be here. It's like, I found that parking spot. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's like, oh, my intuition just led me. And Spirit says, yeah, I'm always with you. So getting strong within that part of yourself, because too much of the shadow is guiding you. And that's because that's what happens when you live in survival mode. You become like programmed to live from that level of consciousness. That's why I said science of the mind. Join things and don't just work out. I mean, join things that are gonna like show different aspects of yourself. Go out and dance, go take a cooking class, take a comedy class. Again, live, live, live. It's like, and then the more the energy that comes into you, the more healed you are, because you'll be like, hey, Whitney, I can't believe you got up there on the stage and you stuttered like that. That was so funny. And meanwhile, you're like, yeah, I really have a stuttering problem, but I just, that is part of the act. Versus the person's like, holy shit, and it's like, and then guess what? Eventually you don't even have a stutter anymore because you're like, oh, I guess it was anxiety. Can't even get over that. Like, I guess it was anxiety. And Spirit says, yeah, because if you grow up in a certain environment, it turns on and off certain DNAs. It's epigenetics proves that it's our environment creates our reality because we form behaviorisms and habits and that are in alignment with that environment. That's why it's very, very bad for like certain people. Like if you grew up, God forbid, in a ghetto, it's not like you can't see that basketball player, like child that's so good at basketball, they get out. But how did they get out? Through their dream. They had a focus. And Whitney, Spirit saying, you need a focus. You need that. You see that? And so again, and so you do like a healing thing. So I would take more healing art classes, but not again, because that is a high, job. That's a high level job. And like I said, that, you're used to being a giver, used to being like a nurturer, and you look how far you came, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I need you to do things that are more like fun. It's like, again, that person represents passion. That's why it needs to be like fun, because Spirit is always like, well, you're down there in physical form to learn and to manifest, and you're supposed to be the expression of love. And that only can come when you're doing something that you're passionate about. So yes, you're great within your job, but there's also like a whole other healing arts. Then you can go away on retreats and meet different people that are going to be more sensitive, people that are more going to be in alignment with who you are and the goals that you have for yourself, and not the pain of the past. Because Spirit even says that it's time. It's time. And that only happens from like you discovering the light that's within inside of you. And that's that, and you'll find it. And that's for anybody that's suffering with a relationship with a person that's one-sided. It's like, understand that, I mean, because it's all about creating awareness so that people, you have to teach a person how they want to, how you want to be treated, because sometimes people are just ignorant too. They were coddled and they were babied, and then they, that now you meet somebody and guess what, that person like was spoiled and they are expecting you to do what, you know, their mother did, or you know what I mean. So some, you just, they're just ignorant. But this was not that. This was more of that dark energy, and that's why you got a lot of therapy within this reading, because that it's not going to be in the cards, things that you have to do like for yourself. And you're your own healer, you're the alchemist of your life. You got to love yourself enough. And I feel like when the student is ready to teach your peers, you were ready to hear this message today. That's how I take it. But will you meet somebody? Yes, if you do that. And I feel like you could be married as soon as 3 years, but you got to get out there and you got to, again, find yourself, heal yourself, because you're not those broken pieces. All right. I think I'm going to wind it down. I think I talked enough. And Whitney, I want to hear next time when you come back that you've joined things and that you're doing things for you and that you're pouring into yourself. And I can guarantee you're going to see results straight across the board, because that's how it works. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I always feel awkward about bye. Is it okay that I leave? You know? Good. I'm glad that you said that. Thank you, Whitney. I'm glad that you got it. Like, I want to hear back again of your progress. And bye, everyone. Thanks for sitting here and listening to me. All right. Bye.